Thank you very much for joining me, Supriya. I'll introduce myself. My name on the screen is Trinity Business School. I am Trinity Business School for the purposes of the call, but my name is Ella Halfacree, and I am the Student Recruitment Officer for the MSc in Financial Risk Management here at Trinity Business School. I'm very delighted to be joined today by Dr. Supriya Kapoor, who is the Programme Director for this programme. Supriya, maybe, obviously this is the first introduction for our applicants, incoming students to you as the Programme Director. So maybe you'd like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your kind of research interests, and that'll kick us off. Thanks very much.
Hi Ella. Hi everyone. My name is Supriya Kapoor and I am the Program Director for MSc in Financial Risk Management in Trinity Business School. I'm an Assistant Professor in Finance here and I've been working here since July 2022. So this is my second year as the Program Director for FRM. Really excited to be joining everyone here and really happy to answer all your questions, follow-up questions on, the Masters in Financial Risk Management. As a researcher, I work on more finance and macroeconomics issues, so intersection of finance and macroeconomics. My research is mostly focused on how changes in monetary policy and fiscal policies would impact banking, bank-related risks, and firm-related risks. So really happy to be talking about any of those issues that, are interesting research topics with everyone. And and I would also like to highlight a little bit about myself here, that my journey with Trinity, goes back to 2013 when I actually came in to do my master's from Trinity College, and it's been a great journey so far, and here I am, more like a homecoming to Trinity itself. And no, it's a beautiful campus for all of you who would want to know more about what's Dublin like and what's college is like. Beautiful campus in the heart of Dublin city centre, and has a very rich culture and heritage. So
yeah, it is gorgeous, especially on lovely sunny days like today. It's wonderful to walk around.
And you have a beautiful background in there.
Yeah. This is a fake image by me. Supriya actually is in the office, so that's you can see into her eyes there. So in terms of how, I guess, the programme is structured, so it's a 1-year full-time masters, so if you want to talk to us a little bit about, I guess there's 2 teaching terms and then you go on to that Trinity term where they look at their dissertation, so maybe you could talk to us a little about that.
Yeah, so as you said, there are 2 semesters or 2 terms. We start with semester 1, which is also our Michaelmas term, and then you have the Hilary term, which is your second semester or the second term, followed by the Trinity term where all the dissertation work takes place. The first term is mostly focused on the core modules for FRM students. So the core modules would include like your market risk, credit risk, operational risk, econometrics, corporate finance, those kind of modules that are very core to the program. Semester 2, which is your Hilary term, we give, I would like to say, a plethora of options in terms of modules and electives that students can choose from. And again, both these semesters are worth 30 credits. So, semester 1 would have your 30 credits, but that would only be your core modules. Semester 2 would again be 30 credits. And from there, the students could choose, they could mix and match a mix of, 5 credit or a 10 credit module, but they all are supposed to complete 30 credits. In terms of the modules that we offer as electives, you have financial markets and institutions that focuses a bit more on, central banking and how do financial markets work. You have modules also on advanced data analysis. So that's more of, a rollover from the econometrics that you've done in the core modules. There are lots of modules that are focusing mainly on fintech in asset management and insurance and banking industry. Then we have a very popular module on sustainable finance. So for students who want to go into that area, so international finance is another module, treasury management, and then we also have a module on simulation. So there are lots of options that the students can choose from in as part of their electives.
And just in terms of how they select those, so I think it's as part of their orientation period, they'd obviously be given information about how they would go about selecting those elective modules, and they would be given, I guess there's much more. So just in terms of if people wanted to kind of give themselves a sense of what would be available, they can check our website. And when they register, they'd be given access to a handbook then that would be given much more detailed outlines of what those elective modules are. And then I guess they would be given some support by the program support team and yourself about which ones they might want to select. But I guess before then, it would be a good idea for them to have a sense of what interests them, what their potential career aspirations are, and how that might feed into their decision making for their elective modules.
Absolutely. And in fact, that's a great point. And we do offer, so of course, you could have a look at the modules that we offer on the website, but once they're actually in the program, they have access to the detailed module outlines. There's also an opportunity to chat with the teaching teams. So they do kind of give a glimpse of what's in there in those elective modules. So that would help them as well. And of course, and then the students can definitely make up their mind in terms of what career path they want to choose eventually after. So it's a very thought of process, and we do kind of offer a lot of help while they're deciding in their electives.
And before, obviously, we don't have the term start date having been confirmed yet, because that's confirmed much closer to the time. It's usually, I guess, towards the end of the first week or start of the second week of September. And before that, they would have an orientation period. And during that orientation period for this program and a couple of other programs in Trinity Business School, they would have preliminary modules. So I wonder, could you talk to us just very briefly about those? I believe I think it's 4, isn't it? It's I never get this right. I think
you have that in mathematics, statistics, economics, and finance. So and the idea behind this is that the program is just so rigorous. So we offer these preliminary classes or preliminary modules or a boot camp kind of a thing in all these 4 fields or subjects. And it's an opportunity for students to kind of attend and brush up their knowledge and skills that they've already. So it's nothing very new. Of course, if you've already done maths and statistics or econometrics or a bit of finance in your undergraduate, it won't be something that's completely different to what you've done, but it's more of a recap. So all those concepts that are very important and you would be using throughout your journey as part of your master's journey, those concepts will be kind of, revisited and recapped a bit. And it's a great opportunity. We do generally offer them with a combination of, it's more of a hybrid setup in which we offer these preliminary modules. We do have, our faculty giving online sessions on these preliminary classes, followed by in-person sessions when they actually arrive during the induction week. So and it's really, as I said, it's very helpful for students to kind of, as they review these concepts that they've already done in their undergraduate degrees, that it will help them to kind of smoothen the process while they're in their masters.
Great. And in terms of, I guess, how the program itself is delivered, obviously one of the most exciting things I think about the program is that it's taught and delivered by a mixture of full-time Trinity faculty like yourself and adjunct professors who are obviously industry professionals. So I wonder if maybe you could talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I think that's a great feature of this program because, as you said, the teaching team is actually a mix of core versus adjunct faculty. Core, of course, it's, all people in finance who are teaching on the program, but we also invite adjunct staff from the industry to teach some modules. And I think the adjunct staff brings with them, a lot of subject knowledge as well as industry experience. They relate concepts to real life examples. And, I always say this, who knows that they could also be your future employers. So I think that's it's a great spread of faculty that we have on the program. And it's a great mix to have both core versus as well as adjunct faculty.
Excellent. And then again, in terms of delivery, speaking to the students, there's obviously group work, there's presentations, there's exams, there's assignments. And I know that a kind of a core feature of the program is that it's very much aligned with the learning outcomes of GARP. So it's a good preparation then for students who wish to go on to take their FRM examinations. And I know another really exciting feature is that we have it's GARPs. There's a few scholarships, I believe, that people can then, I guess, compete for to go on to undertake those exams. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's, given the nature of the program, I'm assuming a lot of the students in the program would be willing to do FRM certifications. Now, there are two parts of this certification, part 1 and part 2, that's facilitated by GARP. And we've been lucky to kind of partner with GARP, and they've offered us a limited number of scholarships. And the scholarship would cover your exam fee for part 1 of the exam. Now, I think that's a great aspect that we provide in the program. The scholarships, obviously, needless to say, they're highly competitive. There are two and they're based on your performance in your modules and your semester 1 results and all of that. There are two times when a student can take the exam. They can either take the exam in summer or in winter. And we do have limited number of scholarships for either the summer or the winter exam. Now, they will have to decide whether they want to apply for the scholarship for the summer exam or the winter exam. And depending upon that, there's a process where, but yeah, I think that's a great thing. In fact, the concepts and the modules that you're doing in as part of this master's degree, they really assist you in preparing for those FRM certifications. So I think the learning outcomes of the program are very much aligned with the FRM certifications. Of course, there'll be all that additional material, study material that you would be requiring, which specifically focuses on these FRM certification. But all the concepts, all the modules that you're studying in this program very well align with this. Yeah.
Excellent. And I know there's an awful lot of theory in the program, but in terms of it being, would you say it's more theory, more practical, a great mixture of both? I mean, I know we have a trading room in the building, which is obviously very popular. They have access at all times to Bloomberg terminals, and I know lots of them use that for their dissertation research, that type of thing. And I know also that yourself coming on board as the program director, you've been quite keen to I guess, get the students in the mindset of what they might, the practical applications, I guess. I know you've introduced a company visit, which actually the current students went on just this week. So maybe you want to talk to us about the practical elements of the program and how that marries up with the theory that the students are kind of learning.
Yeah, I think, and when you're doing a degree like financial risk management, you aspire to become like risk analysts. And, so it's very important that the program is designed in a way that it's a mix of both theoretical knowledge, but also you do have opportunities where you can apply them to, real world examples. So First of all, I would start by saying that all our modules have been designed in a way that they do offer a combination of, theory and practical aspects, whether it's in the form of individual assessments or group assessments. Then throughout the module, the students do have an opportunity of learning different programming skills. So for instance, they have opportunity to learn Stata, which is one of the softwares that they would be using also for their dissertations. Then one of the modules, which is market risk, and a few others also use, programming tools such as Python and R. So it's very much all these modules have been built very much with the state of the art, and they very well complement the theoretical concepts that students are studying in this program and the different modules. They very well complement with the programming skills that we have. So I've said Stata, I've said R and Python. These are really popular tools in learning and, machine learning, and with the module on fintech. So these are lots of things that we do offer. They're very important kind of, if somebody's aspiring to work in the finance sector and the financial industry in this day and age, it's very important that you're well versed with the theoretical concepts, but at the same time, you know how to apply them. And another aspect of, the application based is we do offer, we organize company visits, in semester 1 and semester 2. And these company visits are highly beneficial. They provide students with that first-hand experience on how financial risk management concepts and techniques can be, applied in practice with different organizations. And I would say it's also a great opportunity for the students to kind of interact with professionals, including risk managers or analysts and executives, who can provide a valuable networking opportunities as well for students to build connections. So yeah, these are the practical aspects of the program.
Excellent. And then just this is my last kind of question, I guess, about the kind of content of the program. A question that I would be asked, I guess, as somebody who manages admissions for the program is, what would you say is the main difference between our finance program that we have at Trinity, which is obviously much bigger? That's one of the differences, I guess, and our financial risk management program. Kind of having in mind, if you're someone that's thinking about applying for one or both of the programs and you're just not sure which one you're a better fit for, I guess kind of going back to how orientated as a school we are towards getting you on that career plan, helping you realize your aspirations. I think some people have a bit of a preconception of the financial risk management program because it's a much more niche area, that it's going to somehow limit them in terms of their potential scope for a career afterwards. And obviously in our conversations with the dedicated careers consultant for this program, who over the course of the year we'll have conversations with and we'll share information from, she's actually explained to me that counterintuitively it's the other way around. I don't know if you want to kind of expand on that and how it might actually open up more opportunities for students post-graduation.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely the other way around. It definitely does open up a lot more opportunities for students who are doing risk management. So I think the first thing would be to highlight here is that a few of the modules that we offer in FRM are shared with finance. So they're anyways kind of, doing a few modules that finance students are doing. I would say MSc Finance provides students with a more comprehensive understanding of these principles and practices of finance across various sectors and industries. MSc FRM, on the other hand, it's specifically focused on management of financial risks that is faced by, whether it's individuals, companies, or financial institutions. I would also say that it delves deeper into, topics such as market risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, and so on. So students are able to kind of identify and assess and mitigate these different types of financial risks. So they are studying all those modules that are that also our finance students are studying, but it's an added layer that they are also kind of, specializing in risk management. So there are like, and I would say in terms of career paths, the career paths are overlapping. So finance students, may work for as financial analysts or portfolio managers, and our FRM students can apply for similar jobs as well, because they would be, meeting all that eligibility criteria for those jobs. But at the same time, our FRM students can also apply for jobs that require a risk analysis, or, for example, risk managers, credit analysts, compliance officers, financial regulators, and so on and so forth. So it kind of does, I think, serves both purpose, and it does provide a broader opportunity for you to actually decide whether you want to go into, finance related roles or more risk related roles.
Okay, brilliant. I'm conscious of time moving on here, so we'll move the conversation on a little bit away from the content of the program in terms of who the program is for. So obviously we'd be looking for people that are confident with and have come from a quantitative discipline. But it's not just people that have studied finance specifically, is it, Supriya? Obviously, to have a bit of a background in certain, and knowledge of certain things is great. But as we said, with the preliminary modules and the way the program is taught, if you already have knowledge of econometrics, macroeconomics, that type of thing, obviously brilliant. But we do sometimes get interest from other quantitative areas like the natural sciences, engineering, mathematics. The program is available for people from those areas, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And FRM is, master's in FRM is suitable for anyone who's interested in understanding and managing the complex risks that are, inherited in our financial institutions and markets and so on. So obviously it does open up career opportunities in quantitative analysis, compliance, and all, and so on and so forth, that I mentioned earlier. So obviously a bit of background in mathematics and, finance would be great. But having said that, people who are, who have experience in risk analysis roles, or people with backgrounds in mathematics or quantitative finance, or even diverse backgrounds like engineering, computer science, economics, they're more than welcome to apply for the program, and I'm sure it would really suit their, the program would very well suit.
Yeah, and it's great to hear from students that appreciate people coming from different backgrounds, because obviously different perspectives are brought in. And I know, depending on the module, there's quite a lot of class discussion. I know in the credit risk module, speaking to Catherine, she likes to get people kind of into discussions, and it's great to hear different perspectives from different disciplines, from different areas of the world. And some people have a bit more work experience, and some people are fresh grads. So it's a really diverse cohort, which is great. Actually, speaking of Catherine, she provided this quote, I suppose, not specifically about the program, but about the finance sector in Ireland. So I was just going to read the quote and kind of get a sense from you of maybe you want to expand on that. So she says, "The global financial crisis hit Ireland particularly hard as the banking sector was so large relative to the size of the economy. In fact, it's a very interesting case study, highlighting the dangers of poor credit risk management and how this can impact on the wider economy. And this makes Ireland an interesting and relevant place to come and study financial risk management." So I was thinking maybe you could expand on that slightly. I know you've worked yourself with the central bank, and obviously a lot of your research is very finance orientated. And your experience, I suppose, of working either in or adjacent to the finance sector within Ireland.
Yeah, I think, and if we specifically talk about Ireland, Ireland is a major global hub for finance and business. It's probably hosting so many companies. I can't even remember the number, but I think the last time I saw,
I think it's in the 400s.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the world's leading financial services companies are in Ireland, and Dublin in particular is, you know, home to several multilateral banks and insurance firms, risk management consultancies. So this makes it, I think, an excellent place to study risk management. Students would have the opportunities to connect with, you know, leading industry players and explore different internships or job placement opportunities as well. It's one of these. So Ireland is now, after Brexit, I would say it's you know, one of the only English-speaking countries, and that of course makes a lot of difference for when the program is taught in English. And the other thing is also that Ireland has a very low corporation tax, and it's all, when we're talking about the financial sector, obviously a low corporation tax would mean that, you know, a lot of companies would set up their offices in here, and more offices, more companies coming into Ireland would also mean, of course, more job opportunities. So that's definitely, you know, an aspect that there's a lot of industry demand in finance in Ireland. So and Ireland is highly internationalized with strong demand for, you know, skilled professionals for risk management, and particularly in sectors like banking, insurance, and technology. So yeah, I think Ireland is very well positioned in terms of roles such as risk analysts or compliance officers and so on.
You just reminded me there, Supriya, something very important that I definitely needed to include in this chat, and that's that financial risk specifically is listed by the Government of Ireland as a critical skill.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Obviously, that's something to really take into consideration in terms of if you wish to, and we hope you will, if you're an international student, decide to remain here. Obviously, being a postgraduate student after that, it kind of unlocks, I'm not an expert on this, but it unlocks a visa for 1 or 2 years that would allow you to work within the EU. So these are all important things to take into consideration, and that obviously risk is, as you say, is a critical skill, not just in Ireland, but in many places that you would go. But in terms of securing jobs, obviously that's a really important aspect to think about. Just before I let you go, Supriya, because I know you're very busy and you're probably off to teach shortly, but if there are any particular areas that incoming students might want to refresh themselves on, are there any kind of core areas within finance, within kind of maths or anything like that, because obviously we hear from a lot of students that are, or incoming students, I should say, that are very keen, kind of, especially over the summer months, if they've just completed an undergraduate degree, or maybe they've spent a few years working and outside of academia, and they're thinking, what sort of skills should I try and hone before I, you know, re-enroll then in September? Is there any sort of 1 or 2 areas? Well, I should say as well that over the course of the year, if you have applied and you've been successful in securing an offer, we will be sharing kind of key resources and information to help you guys get to that place where you really can hit the ground running. But is there any specific areas, Supriya, that you think definitely you should maybe try and kind of hone that knowledge?
Yeah, I think when the program starts, then there's little scope for, you know, the students to kind of go back and refresh the concepts that they've already studied in their undergrad. So that would be the main thing. But specific to risk management, I think it's really important to kind of go back and look at, you know, the relationship between risk and return. What are financial markets? How do financial markets work? How are financial markets and institutions kind of, how do they interact? Then a bit more on, and also a little bit more on statistics. I'm assuming that a lot of our students would have background in mathematics and statistics. And I think it's really important to kind of brush up those skills, because when the program starts, of course, the module leaders and the adjuncts here are great to kind of start everything from the scratch. But there's a bit of self-study that's required along with that. So I think while they are in preparation, it's really important if they could focus a bit more on mathematics and statistics concepts that they've already would have studied in their undergrad, and of course basic concepts on risk and return and financial markets and institutions. So yeah.
Brilliant. Plenty for them to sink their teeth into then. Okay, Supriya, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for joining me. So just a little bit of housekeeping. We recorded this video ahead of a live Q&A session that myself and Supriya are gonna host on the 5th of March. We'll share some more information about that and in invitations, that type of thing. So if you do have any questions or any information, that we've tried our best to cover as much as possible today, but if you have any kind of questions, that's the session to do it. So that's going to be on the 5th of March, and we're going to, as I say, share more information about that closer to the time. So thank you very much, Supriya. I think we covered a lot today. Yeah, and thank you for sharing all that insight into the program, and I guess the wider the context of what it's like to work within the finance sector in Dublin. So thanks very much for your time
Thank
today.
you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And we look forward to answering everybody's questions then in March. Okay, I'll see you then, Supriya.
Thanks.